All right, guys, we are live, live, live. Thanks, Darla, for coming to moderate. I'm just going to grab a glass of water and we'll get started. All right, so this video is kind of related to the fine tuning of the universe. I have not done a deep dive into the probability of life being able to happen on Earth. All of the fine tuning that if subtle things were not well aligned or tuned, this whole thing called life and human beings and life on Earth would be non-existent. I'd like to do maybe a further study in the past, especially when I start talking about like intelligent design, which I believe. I do not believe in evolution. So I believe in an intelligent design. How fast God created everything, 7 days. Not sure about that, but you know what? The more that I study the Bible and the more that I progress, the more that the Bible seems to be literal in many ways. But we're not going to concentrate on young Earth creation. I'm not putting my flag on that just yet. That's just I don't know that, but I do believe in intelligent design. And I do believe that the universe is not 15 billion years old. I believe it's a lot younger, but I don't necessarily think that it was like 7,000 years ago that everything, came up. So I was watching a video and I'm going to show you. I'm just going to say hi to everybody here. Hey, Darla. Hey, Jules. Thanks for coming. Like usual, my last minute, live streams. The real Wino is here in house. Elias Valhalla from the Viking paradise has descended from the Viking paradise to grace us with his presence. Salut Elias, ça va, man? And we got, that is all for now. We have 7 people. All right. So let me just share screen here. Yeah, so like I said, I don't believe in evolution. And this is a thought that came, and I said to myself, okay, listen, if Christians really believe that Jesus is the only person that can atone for our sins, that there was a fall in the garden, Adam and Eve, were real people. It's not fairy tale. Most Christians, I'd be highly surprised if a practicing Christian that is dedicating their life to Jesus, that believe that sin entered because of something that happened into the garden, right? I'd be very I'd question their faith if they started to say, well, I don't believe in that aspect. So if we believe in evolution, right, it means that you had this primordial soup, molecules and stuff like that. And, then after it rained on rocks and there's this soup and lightning and whatever, all of a sudden these molecules, became a living, and then after it formed very like amoebas and maybe bacteria, single-celled organisms, very, very simple, right? And then to get from there to the more complex, body systems and stuff like that, it means that there was a lot of death, right? In evolution, death is part of creation, right? You have a mutation that's beneficial, and that mutation gives advantages, and the less advantaged organisms have to die out so that this dominates, and we get what we call evolution, Darwinian evolution, right? The thing is that means that death, okay, has nothing to do with something in the garden, that it has nothing to do with sin, because death occurred for billions and billions and billions of years before, humans came. Death was happening when there was no humans. There were just a bunch of primates and monkeys and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden humans arrived. So if you're going to poo-poo creation and intelligent design and say, I'm Christian, but I'm also scientific, and I believe in Darwinian evolution, right? Even though we can't test that, we can't go in the past, and there's a lot of presuppositions and assumptions that go with that, right? If you're going to take Darwinian evolution as a Christian, then you have to also say that, in a way, sin did not cause death, and that, death happened way before any kind of human appeared on the chess table. I have to make a decision. Am I ready to say I'm a Christian? I believe that Jesus died for sin. I believe sin happened because of Adam and Eve. I believe that death happened because of Adam and Eve and because of a direct consequence of sin. But I believe in Darwinian evolution. I believe that death existed well before humans. I can't put those two together. I have to make a choice. And for now, even though I don't have all of the answers, and I might be wrong, I cannot accept Darwinian evolution. And I wouldn't accept it even if I wasn't a Christian. There's a lot of reasons why I don't believe in Darwinian evolution. When Darwin was looking at the different beaks, on the finches and stuff like that, he was looking at something called speciation. It means that these finches adapted to their environment, and within their DNA there was that adaptability. So but they were still finches. They're just finches, with different size beaks. We could say like different species within a larger species. There were birds, and it's okay for him to say like, hey, maybe everything started from something very, very simple. I think that he didn't necessarily maybe have, a nefarious, plan and stuff like that. But Darwinian evolution is a doctrine of demons in my book, because Christians go to universities and professors nail them with this. And because they're not strong in their faith and they don't have answers, maybe they haven't done the apologetics or seen debates with Christians that are as well scientists that are able to call out the professors. Because if I was a student in university, I wouldn't know if the professor is correct, or if this is a statement that perhaps isn't true or scientific. And we can really, really see that. I've seen some documentaries how these academic institutions are completely dominated by Satan at this point. The social sciences are pushing dangerous ideologies and agendas, and we just see a general corruption in all of the sciences. There is James Tour. Let me check out here. If you want to see a credible scientist, James Tour. Don't show. All right. So the title is Sun and Moon for Signs and Seasons. I'll just say it really, really quickly. Okay. When we look at the Earth, right, the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, right? But it's also 400 times further. And because of that, you can have these amazing eclipses. Okay, like we've seen these total solar eclipses, where um, I see that as a sign. And what's really interesting is that this number 400, right, 400 times larger and 400 times further, allows them to eclipse and the moon blocks out the sun perfectly with ooh, it's beautiful, right? And to think that that's a coincidence, it's like, okay, maybe. But if you use that and then you start saying, okay, well, 400, fine, okay, coincidence that it happens to be 400 times further, 400 times larger. But how did the stupid uh, Jews back in the day, the Israelites that wrote their Bible, that were really superstitious, that didn't understand science, and they were just a bunch of illiterate, stupid shepherds and stuff like that. Um, how did they decide to give numerical values to the letters in their alphabet? You like Greek, for example, right? When you see like on some older buildings, the Greek letters, which is actually numbers, right? X is 10, V is 5, and stuff like that. 1, and then IV is 4, all that stuff. So Greek is like that as well as Hebrew. And it's funny that there is a passage in Genesis that says that the sun and the moon are for signs and seasons. Okay. And we'll look at the quote. Now, a sign, right? Okay, is actually in ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Tav, the last letter of the alphabet. And it actually kind of looks like, goes like this, like almost like a square or rectangle. But the old Paleo Hebrew was actually just an X, right? So let me share the screen. I usually have my phone up. Anyways, James Tour, stupid Christian, okay? But he's a legit scientist. And he goes really, really hard against origin of life. So anybody who wants to have a reason for their faith, for why do they believe, which we often call apologetics, from I think the Greek word apologia, which is not an apology, but it's reasons for why you believe something. And all Christians should study apologetics and hear the arguments and use their discernment and their intellect and come to their own decisions. But I think it's an important part of it. It's not necessarily reading the Bible, but it's also using extra biblical things to prove. Because when you're trying to talk to non-believers about the Bible, they're not going to take anything that's inside of the Bible very seriously. They don't feel it's authoritative, and trying to explain stuff, they'll just spin you in circles with questions and stuff like that. So often going the route of, well, before proving Jesus is the Son of God and that the God of the Bible is the true God, let's try and convince them of theism, okay, that there is a God, there is a creator, there's something, okay. And with this, you can use intelligent design. You can look at the complexity of cells. You can look at the bronchial tree that sucks in oxygen, expires carbon dioxide, and then you see the trees in nature that look exactly like our bronchial tree that do the exact opposite. Like we are connected to trees. Literally, the trees or our lungs are symbols of trees or vice versa. And it's step by step seeing the fine tuning. How can this be coincidence? Maybe one thing could be a coincidence, but as you dig deeper and deeper, it becomes quite difficult to throw this all to coincidence. All right, so you've been deceived, but let's look at the credentials of James Tour. All right, so we have this here, share the tab, James Tour. He's still a professor at Rice University, has his PhD. He's a professor of chemistry, professor of computer science, professor of material science and nano engineering. Rice University. General, he does Tour's scientific research areas include nanoelectronics, graphene electronics, silicon oxide electronics, carbon nanovectors for medical application, green carbon research for enhanced oil recovery and environmentally friendly oil and gas extraction, graphene photovoltaics, carbon supercapacitors, lithium ion batteries, and it goes on, gone on. For pre-college education, Tour developed the publications. So Professor Tour has over 800 research publications, over 130 grant patents, and over 100 pending patents. He has that's probably a research index of credibility and stuff like that. It equals 174 with total citations so he has 800 research publications. He has a bunch of patents, and his research is respected because in the scientific community, it's been cited over 140,000 times. And he was elected to the National Academy of Engineering. He won awards. Anyways, we don't need to appeal more to his authority, but I just want you to know that there are smart, incredible Christians that happen to be scientists as well. And these are the people that you should be listening to. This is important homework for Christians that, if you're a Christian and you never talk about your faith and not calling you out and saying there's anything wrong with that, and you just read the Bible, you're not interested in knowing apologetics, fine. There's all sorts of different kind of Christians. We're all different members. It takes some to do it. It takes others to do other things. And together we're all different, and we all form the body of Christ, and we're all unique, and there's all different personalities and temperaments. But if you're like me, I encourage you, especially nowadays, to have an answer for your faith. And there's also the Stephen Meyer, that's over here on the left. And the church fathers, to be honest, looking at Isaac Newton and one of the guys that pretty much, developed a large portion of the periodic table. These were all Christians. They believed that there was a creator. They believed that he was a lawgiver, so they believed that there was laws of physics and other scientific laws in the universe that would reveal his invisible qualities, that from what has been made, they could know the maker. And that is basically one, it's a Bible passage. So it says here, God's invisible qualities can be all right. So Romans 1, Paul provided an argument that everyone should be able to comprehend the existence of God from the creation. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power, his divine nature, has been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. And we have here basically an argument for theism. I don't think that you can look out and say, I think it's Jesus, that's the Son of God. I think it's the Jewish God Yahweh that's done this. But to completely reject and say that there is no God, that all of this it has no purpose, that nothing created everything. It takes way more common sense, or it takes way more faith to believe that nothing created everything. When in our experience, we see that when, that it's probably more likely that something created everything than nothing. So this is cool. So, and I saw this. This was from this guy. And actually, it's super weird coincidence again. And one of the family members of this channel emailed me, and she said, you know what, you should look at Mark Blitz, who's on, I forget, Janine Duval's channel. I happened to go onto my Gmail to look at this, and I fall upon it as I'm watching Mark Blitz. So, and this was yesterday. So she sent this 2 days ago, the 15th, saying you should check this guy out. And I saw that while I was actually checking out. So coincidence? Is it God winking and nudging? I think he's doing a little wink and nudge, saying that he's here. So this guy, Mark Blitz, in his presentation says that the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, and it's also 400 times further than the moon. And it is because of this 400 further and 400 times the size that these amazing eclipses and the coincidental perfect, covering to create this wonderful eclipse. This is just a coincidence. So I wanted to look into it because maybe this is false information and stuff like that. It seems to be true, guys. Please call me out. Please check if this is false, and then I'll do the next video and say I was wrong. I just saw this, so I'm just sharing it because I always say, I should do a video on these things, and then weeks go by and I forget about it. So I'm just kind of saying, like, you guys should check into this, because I think this is, again, just another sign that there is a creator. So the sun is 400 times larger than the moon. The sun measures 1.4 million kilometers across, while the moon is a mere 3,400. The sun's diameter is 864,000 miles, which is approximately 400 times larger than the moon, at only 2,000 roughly. The sun and moon appear nearly the same size as seen from Earth, because the sun is also 400 times further. And if this wasn't the case, this sign, this 400, then this would not happen. Now, when we look at Gematria Hebrew alphabet. All right, go to any, and we'll look at multiple ones again to make sure that no one's being deceived or not. So well, here is one view image. This is the Aleph and the Tav. This is the sign and the mark, or the mark and the sign. So we have 400 right here, and that's the cross. That's the X. So let's go to a couple more just to make sure that we're consistently seeing the Tav as 400. And then we will go to Older Hebrew, Gematria and Paleo Hebrew. Hope I shared it at the last one. So you see here, okay, you have the A, the Aleph, which represents it's an image actually of an ox in Paleo Hebrew, and it means strength and leader, right? And then after you go over here to Tav, which is a cross in Paleo Hebrew, this is the modern, what it looks like. Okay, so modern is on the top here, but this is Paleo. So this is in the Bible. This is what the language would have been written as, not the top, not modern Hebrew. So this is a mark, a sign, a covenant, a cross. And when we look at Genesis, as we went through prior, give me a second. So Genesis, 4 signs and seasons. All right, so we can go, let's just go to Gen 1. Bible Gateway, I hope pops up. All right. So we're looking at here. So Genesis 1:14, and God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky, or the firmament, to separate the days from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years as well," right? "And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth." And it was so. God made 2 great lights, the greater light to govern the day and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. So we see here it is to serve as signs, right? As well as sacred times, days, years. So now I go back to you guys and I ask, is that kind of cool? What do you guys think of that? So let me just go find the actual live stream where we are streaming. So am I just crazy, or is there something to that's just another coincidence about the fine tuning of the universe? Also, what do you guys think, if you are Christian, about being Christian as well as accepting Darwinian evolution, 15 billion years, 5 billion years, the earth was created, 15 billion years, the universe was created. That may be so, but can a Christian accept that death arrived before humans even existed and sinned? It's a legitimate question, because every single time you drop, the meaning of the Bible, because you're like, you know what, science is saying something different. Science always changes. And when we're studying physical science, we can study things that we can measure and we can reproduce studies. When we're talking about origin of life, no one knows, no one was there, we can't measure stuff. What we have to do is do a lot of assumptions, presuppositions. They put things into computer models, and they play it out. When they're measuring decay rates and time constants and things like that, they have to presuppose or assume that these decay rates or these time constants, in a fine-tuned universe, have always been the same rate. Okay, the decay rates from where we see the decay rate of radioactive elements, for example, that their decay rate right now has been the same decay rate that was there at the start and origin of the universe. And we don't know that. So we have to punch in these assumptions and presuppositions. And to a certain extent, there is some blind trust and confidence that has to go into that. Science is great and legit when we're talking about physical science, when we're talking, but when we start getting into quantum theories, when we start getting especially into origin of life, and I trust that James Tour is putting his reputation and on the line, and he is truly criticizing. He's saying, you guys in origin of life sciences are publishing paper, and then what happens is, and we see this, believe me, right? If you followed me from the start of this channel, it was a ketogenic diet and fasting channel. Okay, nutritional science is bogus. It is corrupt. It is straight out lies, and the science is almost a complete inversion of what the truth is. Okay, so forgive me if I'm a stupid Christian and I'm highly suspect of other forms of science. I think that we live in an age of deception, okay? And that the medical field was a lot less deceptive a while ago. Pharmacology was a lot less deceptive. A lot of the science now, the social sciences, the humanities, things like that, were a lot less corrupted. The governments perhaps were a lot less corrupt. We live in an age of deception and corruption where it says, woe to the time period when good will be called evil, and evil will be called good. I believe that we're truly at this phase. Those with the Holy Spirit that are saved through Christ Jesus, that have the inner discernment of what good and evil is, what right and wrong is. The world has their own view of what good and evil is. Abortion is a right; it's a good thing. Okay, sexual liberation is a good thing. Being more inclusive, okay, and preaching now some very just false ideologies is a good thing because it's loving, and all of these things. So we can see that there is a great divide between those who have the discernment of the Holy Spirit and those that live in this world. It's like water and oil, they just don't mix. It didn't show that much perhaps centuries ago or millennia, but it's showing so much more every single year, every single month. So, um, listening in. All right. I will send a link. Pretty much, that's all I had to say. Um, I can invite some people on that might have something to say about this. And I'm just going to bring down these things. So I find it pretty cool that, the sun and the moon and the stars are for signs and seasons, that the sun and the moon are 400 times, the sun is 400 times larger, but 400 times further as well, which is the only way that you'd get this perfect, amazing eclipse, that they just fit perfectly together during these eclipses. And then to look at the ancient Paleo Hebrew and realize that even the word sign equals 400 in the numerical values for their alphabet. And there's a lot of 400s going on there, guys. So I encourage you to check out this guy, Mark Blitz. Yeah, I think it's worth to listen to him open-mindedly. Um, we shouldn't date set. We shouldn't make date setting and stuff like that. But it does say that the day or hour we will not know, but the signs and the seasons we should know. And it's important to note that God, through the prophet Daniel, gave the prophecy of 70 weeks of Daniel, right? And it said that Messiah would come once there was the declaration to rebuild Jerusalem. Okay, so I'm paraphrasing that quote. So if you take the declaration, which I believe was by Artaxerxes, to rebuild the temple, when you do the math of this prophecy, we arrive at the exact time that Jesus's first coming arrived. Okay. So the 70 weeks prophecy also helps us understand events that need to occur before the second coming of Christ. So he has not left us completely blind. Okay, we should know when we're on the verge. We also know that that a large prophetic starting of the watch clock, I believe, is when Israel in 1948 was regathered. The prophecies say that in the end times that Yahweh will regather his people to Israel for two reasons. One, the regathering has those who claim to be Jews but are not. And they are known as the rebels. And during Jacob's trouble, during the end times, they will be judged and they will be killed. But there's a remnant of his people. Probably, I think, in my opinion, ties into the 144,000, 12,000 of each tribe. God is able to regather his people. Are they 100% genetically pure? I don't know. But he definitely is going to regather the Jews in the end times, one for the judgment of the rebels and for the refining of a remnant, because he is concentrating on the Gentiles. He's concentrating on the church, which is Gentile nations as well as Jews that accept Jesus as Messiah, often referred to as Messianic Jews. So that's the church. But it says that that Jerusalem will be trampled down, right, by the Gentiles until the completion of the Gentiles. And that completion is when, I believe, whether it's pre-trib, mid-trib, Um, I don't think it's post-trib, but who knows? Once it could be, but I do believe that there is a gathering of his people, a rapture. The word harpazo. So I do believe in the rapture. I just don't have my flag planted in the pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib camp, but it's going to happen. For sure. And once that rapture occurs, then uh, God will concentrate on uh, on the remnant of Israel. And it's important to look at the Prince of Persia, which what is Persia? That's modern day Iran. Then there's Cush, there's Put, there's Gath, there's all of these ancient names for modern places. And when you actually find out what these ancient places are, they're just all of the surrounding nations that happen to be Islamic that are surrounding all of Israel. Um, we have empires that came and went, and yet you have this tiny nation of Israel that has surpassed and outlived all of these great world powers and nations. And God is not keeping his promise to the remnant of Israel. He's not keeping his promise because Israel is righteous. Israel currently is regathered in rebellion against Jesus. But just as Jesus has mercy, he will as well show mercy to the remnant of Israel. So, anyways, this is Mark Blitz. What else? And I'm not saying that we need to celebrate or that there's a demand that we celebrate the feasts and festivals and stuff like that. I also don't think that during eclipses on that very day that things happen, but it's good to keep our eyes open because there are patterns that are seen. And what happens is, let's say the eclipse had just happened. Nothing necessarily happened that day, but that is a sign that there is a new phase or something that's going to happen. It seems and I tend to agree that judgment is coming onto the West. So we shall see. All right, guys. Nobody wants to come on here. Anybody interested? I'm just going to go through the comments. I'm going to post another invite. In my opinion, when you're doing end time prophecy and eschatology, you should be very, very open-minded without making claims, absolute and stuff like that. You start making claims and they don't come true, especially if you're stupid enough to say that it came from God in a dream or something, and it doesn't come true, you lose all credibility. All right. So, hey, peeps, just dropped my thumbs up. Thanks, Alias. Merci beaucoup, Alias. People have been going crazy down here in Oz since the eclipse, perhaps like the effect of a full moon. Yan, ça va, man? Yan is here. Don't forget to do a thumbs up. Thanks for reminding people, Alias. Yeah, it's true. Where's Kai? Hope you're okay, Kai. Leah, Darla, I just wanted to get one that was designed for that type Gulf guitar. I mean banjo. Excuse me. Hey, LA, what's up? There's Kai. He's alive. Thanks for listening in. All right. I'm leaving the channel on. I just walked in the door. Got to move my truck and so on. Something about muscle probably cause you weight loss. Yeah, I'm a fat boy right now. After how many, like 3 solid years of consistently eating, in a fashion that induces ketosis and optimizes weight loss. I had a horrible year of inconsistencies, and went 180 is pretty much where I tend to hover on keto. If I'm really trying to lean out with fasting periods, I can get below 180. 180 is good enough though. But I was at 197 roughly 6 days ago, 6 days ago. Now I'm at 192. So already lost the 5 pounds of water weight. For some reason, I've gone through the fat adaptation because it's been a year that I'm just inconsistent, and gained 27 pounds from 170 to 197. 20, yeah, roughly. I don't necessarily have to be at 170, but yeah, like I had the whole dizziness that can happen with the keto adaptation. Had to ingest salt and stuff like that, and horrible Charlie horses and muscle cramps and stuff like that. That's usually from magnesium and stuff like that. It doesn't help that I have been taking every single possible overtime. So I think in the last 60 days, I may have had 10 days off in 60 days, or maybe 15. I work full time, and I'm taking 7 overtimes per month extra, which is almost a full 2 weeks extra of pay. I've done this now for 2 schedules, and I'm going to start the third one. Want to get a completely redo the heating, ventilation in the house, as well as the windows and stuff like that. So I just am trying to accumulate a lot of cash and stuff like that. So yeah, doing the keto adaptation while doing tons of overtime and stuff like that, probably not the best thing to do, especially when it's been a long time you haven't done it. So it's been a rough time for me. I'm really, really happy that I'm going to have today and tomorrow off. So I'm really happy. So we have one here. Where's Tony? I saw God bless Tony. Where's Tony? All right. Darla is another stupid Christian that doesn't believe in Darwinian evolution. Yeah. There is evolution, like because you can have things evolving. I just don't think that things evolve into completely different body systems and stuff like that. You know what I mean? There's speciation, there's adaptation within species, but the general larger family, still remains, within that larger group. So all of, the lions, pumas, tigers, and all these different kitties and stuff like that, they don't turn into cows. I don't think they evolve. I think that there were very large body systems that were all created at the same time. I'm even questioning, because I'm questioning everything. If nutritional science is a lie that is killing people, then I'm questioning things. Stuff like finding um, still flexible vessels inside T-Rex bones and stuff like that. If this is, when did T-Rexes exist? So if we go to when did T-Rex die out? Okay, so if the T-Rexes kind of died out 66 million years ago, right? Sorry, I didn't share a screen. Yeah, I did. Then how are we finding? I don't care if it's small amounts. This is lasted flexible vessels that are still flexible tissue inside T Rexes, meaning that that tissue has sustained itself for 66 million years on Earth. I don't believe that. And we can see that there's cultures that have pottery of what seems to look like brontosauruses and those herbivore dinosaurs. Personally, I believe that the raptors and the T-Rexes and all of these more, just true carnivorous dinosaurs may have been genetic manipulation by the sons of God, by the fallen angels and the Nephilim in Genesis 6. Why do I say that? Because scientists say that T-Rexes, evolved into birds, so that a T-Rex evolved into a chicken, pretty much. And when science says that, it's like, yeah, that's okay. That doesn't sound stupid at all. But when I question that perhaps dinosaurs existed a lot earlier, and I'm questioning that because we're finding flexible tissue in these T-Rexes, it puts the timeline, a lot closer. There's molecules, they can see hemoglobin and stuff like that. So I question it, but it's okay if the scientists say that dinosaurs evolved into chickens. So let's check that out. Dinosaur. So we have theropods, chickens, and all modern birds. Well, they evolved from a group of dinosaurs known as theropods. Theropods were a group of bipedal carnivorous dinosaurs that lived during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. Scientists have identified several different species. So here, how did chickens evolve from dinosaurs? The origins and evolution of chickens. Decoding dinosaur DNA, the surprising genetic link between dinosaurs and chickens. So I'm sorry, I think that's stupid. That's hilarious. So now I have the question: if this is true, okay, and 66 billion years ago there was T-Rexes and they were extinct, but at the same time also evolved into chickens that survived the extinction period. The dinosaurs couldn't handle it, but chickens sure could. But if the T-Rexes have actual still flexible tissue and vessels, then I question maybe it's a lot less than 66 million years. And if it is, then is there enough time for T-Rexes to turn into chickens? I don't know. Stupid question. The stupid Christian is just asking the smart people, the science, think it's all hogwash, to be honest. Yeah, so nothing created everything. When science says that, it makes perfect sense. When, dinosaurs are extinct, but they turn into chickens, that's fine. Um, but when we look at the design and we say, to me, it seems like there must be intelligence here. When we look at DNA, that's an instruction manual. Instruction manual, okay. Who makes instruction manuals? Okay, humans, right? Minds, intelligent minds, right? Conscious, intelligent beings, okay, are able to write manuals that have information in there to build plans, structures, right? And we see that DNA is just not just a bunch of molecules, it is a letter system, it's a language, and that language is an instruction manual. Science says that nothing created that information came from non-information, that in what appears to be intelligently designed came from non-intelligence, from no conscious mind. How did mutations, okay, create the functioning amazing body systems that we see, from giraffes to octopuses to jellyfish to birds to fish to humans to lions to giraffe, the all unique functioning, um, and they all have their own genetic handbook, right? I think it's 6.3, is it million or billion letters long? When we look at, just give me a sec here. Tissue found in T-Rex. So over here in 2005, paleontologist Mary Schweitzer discovered soft tissue in a 68 million year old T-Rex leg bone, which surprised scientists because soft tissue cells are known to decay more rapidly than hard tissue, such as bones and teeth. So science says that obviously tissue, soft tissue, will decay at a much higher rate. But since they found soft tissue, it means that soft tissue can exist for 68 million years. That's science. Because they're not going to change their opinion on something based on the evidence. They have an ideology, a religious belief. There is science, and then there is scientism. Okay, and they are not basically the same. So give me a second. We'll go back to the T-Rex soft tissue in a minute. I just want to make sure I'm not sharing. I want to show you something. If I can find it, bear with me. I just need my phone. Two seconds, guys. Yeah, here it is. P049. Okay. How do I make this a bigger? All right. Let me see here. Effects of therapeutic anticoagulation. All right, I'm gonna have to stop soon, guys, because kids here. Let me see if I can download it. I'm trying to make the image bigger, but I might not be able to. Slideshow. Okay, this might work. Present screen, share screen. Entire screen. Okay. There's anyone? I hope that you guys see this. I'm going to just log on here. Why am I showing this? It might be a little bit of ego, a little bit of pride or showing off. I'll admit it. But I don't, this is actually a little bit for LA that says, I don't understand how you can be scientific, but then believe in all of this kind of stuff. This is just for you, LA. What up? What up? She's sleeping? I'm just finishing a stream. Jason, what are you doing? Come on, hurry up. Sorry for this long delay. Just want to log in and make sure that, yeah. So you might not be able to see it that well on it. But this is one of the research papers where the patients that had the COVID-19 that infiltrated their lungs, known as COVID pneumonia, we gave them therapeutic anticoagulations to kind of like what heparin would do to anticoagulate. And we also gave high doses of dexamethasone. So we were using anticoagulants because COVID-19 would cause clotting, massive amounts of microembolisms going all through the pulmonary vasculature, the capillaries close to, right down to the smallest capillaries and stuff like that. And there was a massive inflammation that occurred, creating, that cytokine storm. And together with that, so the pharmacist was Katrina. I was a respiratory therapist because it's lung related, Jason, and we had Jamal Alashemi, the doctor, who's published in the past in medical journals. So I'm really excited that this is on the verge of being published. And I'm just saying that because I know that people are going to be saying that you're an idiot for the claims that I'm making. But yes, I guarantee you that you could be a stupid Christian, you could question evolution, and even if you're that stupid, you can still end up publishing in science. It's amazing. I beat the odds. This religious mind somehow managed to grasp science. Isn't that crazy? That's like ninja level sarcasm they're doing. So I'm kind of excited about that. Then I have 3 more studies. So at our small little community hospital, we've kind of developed a little group that are doing science. And it's impressive because science is usually done in academic, called university hospitals and institutions. So for us, Centre Universitaire de Montréal is the French sector, and McGill is the English sector. They're the ones that usually do large studies and stuff. Our studies are not, necessarily large, but it's really impressive that we've been able to form within a small community hospital a little research group that's managing to pop out studies and get published in critical care journals and stuff like that. I have to admit that I'm a little bit happy and proud of that. It was a lot of work. And once I'm done the 4 studies, I'm never doing any studies ever again, because it takes away so much time from family, as well as it's just exhausting. We don't have all the funds that a hospital has, so we do a lot of the work ourselves. We can't outsource data entry. We're doing it ourselves. So we're the ones, in the intensive care doing the actual study. We're also the ones putting the data in and things like that. So kudos for our little hospital. Stephen A. Anyone know much about sidereal time? No, it's based on the location of the nearest black hole. No, I don't know nothing about that. Stephen A says, yes, stupid Christians, and fact, Jason, fact, we did not evolve. I'm of the same opinion, my friend. Like the moon has a large effect on things, so does the location or movement of the black hole. Did you ever hear that experiment? Something about, like the sun, you can take the thermal temperature, but they're like guns and stuff like that. Somebody that did it, and I don't know if that's just hogwash or not, but obviously if you take a temperature of the ground where the sun's beaming on, it's going to be a hot temperature, right? But if you take moonlight, supposedly that the moonlight, the temperature is colder than, so I don't know if that's true. I've heard that, but I don't know. I think, I don't think that people are getting stupider and stupider. Well, yeah, they are. But I think that people have such distrust for the institutions currently that they're doubting everything. Like for me personally, it was my pill, or red pill, blue pill moment or something like that, where I started to question everything, was when I started doing the ketogenic diet and started to research it and started to look on PubMed and look at the studies and to see the changes in my body and the improvements in my health, and to get into that and to realize that we're still preaching low fat, we're still preaching high carb, we're still saying that vegan is better than a animal-based, unprocessed, omnivorous diet. It's just ridiculous. And then they're like, oh, people are so stupid. It's like, no, people just know that they're being lied to. So sometimes they don't know. So if they don't know, they rather just assume that they're being lied to, because we're being lied to everywhere on all levels. Um, like for me, because I'm biblical, I truly believe that um, that the sun and the moon are part of the fine-tuned universe that God created so that there'd be signs and times. I can't like smash any other hypothesis about the moon being a space station or things like that, or that that it's other than a celestial body made by God to show his invisible qualities and glory, stuff like that. Is the moon hollow to a certain extent? Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. I believe there's tons of fallen angel activity, interdimensional beings on the moon at the moment, because it says there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. So we have signs that could be eclipses, but we also have signs that are happening, the solar flares in the moon, in the sun, and the structures that are probably there from interdimensional beings on the moon, the activity on the moon. All of these things, I'm very, very open to believing, but that the moon is not part of God's intelligent design. I personally don't believe that, because the Bible, uh, that is proving itself to be, in my opinion, more and more trustworthy than anything else that we have right now, says thousands of years ago about what the moon was. God's prophetic calendar is based on, sun and lunar cycles and things like that. The appointed times, the jubilees, the these were all based on the sun and the moon. So I don't. So if God was using that, the creator of all was using the sun and the moon, I don't believe that the moon was brought here by anything other than God. And I don't think he brought it here. I think it was created. Um, Now, could it be that he created at the start where it smashed in and dust formed a ball closed? Yeah, I'm good with all that. I'm good with processes over periods of time. I mean, even to the most extreme Christian that wants to take it literally, 7 days is a process of time. Um, there are some arguments that the first sentence, there's a large gap between that. Could the earth was void and without form? Okay, how long was it void and without form? Okay, that could have been billions of years. Maybe and I don't think that, if there was some kind of creation prior to this, um, and God's started over, and he took what was void and stuff like that, it's none of our business if there's been past cycles of things like that. He wrote a book about the creation of this universe and this planet, and of all the things and life that we see, and more specifically us. That's what he's concerned about. God existed since eternity prior to this. Okay. Which our mind cannot even comprehend, because time, space, and matter entered into existence at, let's say, the Big Bang, so that the fabric of time at one point didn't exist. Us, being, a product of this universe, have trouble to contemplate and understand what eternity is. We say, well, eternity is forever forward and forever past, based on the present. But the present moment and forever forward and backward is part of the time, the fabric of space and time. So eternity is something more along the lines of the singularity that is the cause of the present, the future, and the past. Eternity is that is not only a quantitative but a qualitative value, meaning that eternity is the location where God is. Okay, eternity, eternal judgment, eternal fire, eternal is a quality. So something that is eternal is God, right? So it is of the quality of God. So I don't think that eternity is, when we at least speak spiritually and biblically, is about a quantitative amount of time. I think that it's outside of time, and I think that it represents more a quality than a quantity, and that's just the way I see it. Tell me if that makes absolutely no sense. Um, yeah, exactly. So dinosaurs, those T-Rexes evolved into chickens, and science will say that with a straight face. And when I say I think that possibly T-Rexes lived a lot earlier, and that people that used to call dinosaurs dragons, that we see in ancient cultures on pottery and art, dinosaurs, and we see humans riding on them, um, makes me question, hey, maybe because God created everything in such a short period, that even the dinosaurs and stuff like that, human and man walked with these herbivore dinosaurs and things like that. And that could have been the pre-diluvian world and stuff like that. But that's a joke. You're such a stupid idiot, Jason, for believing that. But chicken equals dinosaur, no problemo. Also, don't believe monkey evolved to men. No. And like I said, if you want to take Darwinian evolution, then as a Christian, if you're going to adopt that, then you have to make a choice. Then you literally have to say, yeah, I'm a Christian, but I believe in Darwinian evolution. Therefore, I believe that death entered way, 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 way before man ever existed. But that makes no sense. The Bible is lying then. The Bible says that man sinned and brought death into the world from that disobedience, and that a savior, Jesus the Messiah, was had to come, and he's the only one that can correct that and bring us back to paradise, to heaven, to the garden. Uh, if you are going to say that death existed way before, then I don't know. I can't put both of those together. And I think when Christians start doing that, because they don't like being called morons and stupid, even though God said that you would be mocked if you believed in him. So they want both, right? They want to remain biblical, but they don't want to look stupid in front of people who are literally not scientific, but are believing in scientism. Okay, you can ask questions to the majority of people in university, very simple questions on Darwinian evolution, and they'll be completely dumbstruck and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of good documentaries on evolution, and when you have a well-educated Christian that works in the scientific community debating these college professors look stupid. All right. Let's go back here. I just popped up like dinosaur pottery with humans and stuff like that. If you look at some pottery and stuff like that, obviously we're on the net. I don't know if all of these are real, but some of them are. You have, historical and archaeological pottery and stuff like that, with images of dinosaurs. Also, with images of even humans riding these dinosaurs. The majority of them are, are are pottery of brontosauruses and stuff like that. There's even in churches um, here. So let me see. Ancient pottery and art. Let me see if I can find something legit here. It's a good study. Maybe you could do on your own and stuff like that. I don't want to waste too much time on it. Um, just trying to show you that ancient cultures were aware of these dinosaurs and stuff like that. There's one where it's like you can see the necks twisting. It's really again, this has to be verified. I might be showing you stuff that's like not legit. This is I'm spur of the moment, just punching in stuff, guys. It's up to you guys to go check into this. It's just to kind of jog your interest and spike your curiosity to go check into these things and decide for yourself and stuff like that. Um, Ancient dinosaur carvings and art. Um, Still looking for. Ancient art and pottery. I was just specific. No, that's not at all. I'll find it at one point. Enough of that. Go to the. I'm going to invite again if anyone's interested in coming on, guys. What if the Bible story is what the elite follow and make it happen? Um, what what if the Bible story is what? Well, I mean, there are people that are trying to force prophecy to happen and stuff like that. But when it comes to the Bible, um, the elite are highly religious. It's just that they're Luciferian, and they're they're basically Luciferians. What do I know? Also, just have no clear idea how it happened. It's entirely possible that God created a lot more than we're aware of. Yes. Why suddenly stop creating? Perhaps we're unaware for a reason. Yeah, like I said, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep of the deep. So prior to that, how long had it been like that? That could have been billions of years. Was there something else that God created and did? Maybe. And I don't think that it's any of our business. I don't think that he it's not that it's like there's no point for us to know what happened before that. If something did happen, we're human, okay? And this is our story, the Bible story of Adam and Eve in the garden, and sin, and the serpent and the devil, and salvation, and the return to paradise, and a new heaven and a new earth. That's the story that we need to follow. It takes enough of our time, effort, and energy to use this truth onto salvation. We don't need to know other things that are just mere curiosities that tickle our ear, but people can waste their time on those things for a very, 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 very long time, and then after not be saved. Same thing with Genesis 6. It's very important that you accurately understand what happened in the pre-Diluvian era in Genesis 6. It's important that you know that the sons of God were fallen angels. It's important for Christians to know that what happened will happen again in the end times, as in the days of Noah. But Christians, myself included, can just be so obsessed about Genesis 6, about the Nephilim, that's all they talk about. That's all they do. That's all they research. It's only videos on that. They might not even necessarily be Bible thumping Christians and readers. They may be highly knowledgeable in this information, but still living in sin in their life. And these curiosities just pull us away from our work, the work that we need to do. You know, that's right, Dorla. If we evolve from monkeys, why such a large separation between us exists? No in between. Well, it's the other thing is that there's something known as morality as well. So sorry if you're hearing the Coco Melon in the background. I hope I do not get a strike because you faintly hear. Do you guys hear the cartoon in the back? Because that'll give me a strike, and then after I'll be unable to stream for a while. That's right. Wino's talking to Darla says, Darla, if we evolved from monkeys, why such a large separation between us exists? And Owen tweets. And the same thing. I ask you, okay, at the time when we were just a amoeba in a primordial soup, was there any morality when a bacteria? And I've said this multiple times, but I think it's a valid question to ask. When I work in a hospital and somebody has a strep or staph infection, bacteria, E. coli, if they have a virus, respiratory syncytial virus, whatever, HIV virus, when a human being is being invaded by a virus or a parasite or a bacteria, would we say that the virus, bacteria, and parasite in and of itself is evil? It's an evil demonic force in a way. We would say no. These are just microorganisms doing what microorganisms do. Now, I would say that death entered because of evil, and in that respect, there's somewhat of a connection. But in and of itself, these bacteria and small cells, organisms, so they don't have moral agencies. They're not held accountable on a moral level, such as we hold ourselves to. Then after, we can look at all the animal kingdom. Penguins are horrible, man. You should see, like, they rape each other. They cannibalize each other. There's some raunchy stuff going on in the animal kingdom and stuff like that. They'll just rip off your junk, kind of thing, if they're fighting. So the shark that chomps on a surfer's leg, is that shark morally evil or good or evil? No, it's just, when you're in the ocean, you got to watch out. That's their home, and there's sharks, and you might get your leg eaten off, or you die if you're in the ocean. But we don't say that shark is evil. We just say that's the animal kingdom. That's what happens. So if we are going to state that we are mere monkeys that evolved from, primates and stuff like that, then when did moral agency enter? Why are we obsessed? Even if you're an atheist, you will still say that God, that your God is, I'll never worship your Christian God. He's a genocidal, evil, egoic, murderer, and stuff like that. And then you're like, okay, but if I'm a monkey, why are we even held accountable? And if nothing created everything, and we're just a product of our subconscious mind and chemicals and hormones and molecules fizzing in our brain, and then why do you turn around and use uh, um, uh, God? Why do you hate God? Why do you call him evil if you're saying that there's no God that exists and that we all came from a soup and we are just complex monkeys? Monkeys are not good or evil. They're just monkeys jumping on the bed. I would say, like Rod, are that Adam and Eve were created. Um, all of the animals were created uh, at their prime, 18, 20, whatever. They were created as complete uh, adults, with both genders, able to replicate. So I would say that the chicken happened first, and that chicken had the capacity to produce eggs to continue that species, that creation, and humans were born like Adam. Well, Eve was created from Adam, right? And Adam was a direct creation. Uh, so, yeah, kind of thing. So I think that all of the animals and all of the plants were created perfectly, at their prime, and with the ability to reproduce themselves and stuff like that. Some of these animals that are asexual, that impregnate themselves, kind of thing, they were born with that ability right away to do that. So I would say that the chicken came before the egg, not the egg before the chicken. But what do I know? We weren't there. All right, Count Derpala, thanks for joining. I'm of the idea that Bigfoot is a multi-dimensional, interdimensional being, that he may be a hairy demon, or he may just be a species that exists. There's tons of species that once in a while we're like, wow, a new species that we never knew existed and stuff like that. Maybe a species, just a different kind of gorilla, primate, and stuff like that, possible. Or maybe it's a figment of our imagination. Maybe Bigfoot is completely just a figment. Who knows? Um, but they make for interesting speculations and stuff like that. Um, the Bigfoot seems to disappear into the portal when spotted. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking more, appearing, disappearing, and stuff like that. That it's more of a spirit being, an Elohim. He's like, we have enough nukes to blast ourselves back to the Stone Age, though. Let's do it. I'm fed up of this Earth. Well, the revelation, the seals, the bowls, the trumpets, all of Revelation um, is is like the nukes going off and then some. We're talking about the all life in the oceans dying, a quarter of all the trees burn, people being scalded by the sun, just insane, fiery mountain being thrown into the ocean, turning it bitter, and all life dying, just massive, massive destruction and judgment coming upon the earth. And sooner than later, we are definitely in the end time. It says that um, uh, what is it? Is it Matthew 23 or 24 when they talk about this? When will it be the time of your return? And it explains all like the wars, the rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, etc., etc. Just a lot of chaos and upheaval and violence and man's heart growing cold and all of these things. But it also says that yeah, when you see the fig tree, I'm paraphrasing, when the fig tree starts blossoming and blooming, when its shoots are tender, that is Israel. That means when you guys, because there's always been wars, rumors of wars, nations against nations, kingdoms against kingdoms, famines, pestilence. That's happened since the fall, kind of thing, for a long, long time. What that passage specifically is unique is when you see the fig tree, okay, and when you see Israel regathered, and when Israel is regathered and Israel becomes a cup of staggering to the world, when we see all of the nations surrounding Israel, when it's regathered, then when you see the fig tree, Israel regathered, and then you see nations rising up against nation, which is in Greek ethos, ethnicities, uh, people groups, ideologies, races. So it's not just nations like different countries. Okay. I think kingdom against kingdom is a way of saying nations, are different countries against different countries. But when it says nations against nations, I think they translated nation. I think more accurately would be ethos, ethnicities. So, and not just ethnicities, but people groups, tribalisms. So, we have, the Arabs against the Jews. We have the Taiwanese against the Chinese. We have Ukraine against Russia. We have this reverse racism where African Americans now are racist against what's it called? A critical race theory. All white people are just innately evil and racist, and that now for retribution, for things to be equal, black people need to be racist towards white people because that is fair. Anyways, so yes, prophetic times are occurring, are happening. We if you're educated in Genesis 6, then you know that there's a large aspect of genetic tampering, manipulations, playing with the God's language, the genetic code, and stuff like that. All sorts of stuff. Not only that, but issues along the line of manipulating genetics, adding humans and animals together. Okay, this happened, and we could see this in the book of Jasher. I think is more pronounced Yasher, but it's J-A. Yeah, Jasher. It talks about that they mixed animals with animals and humans with animals, and we can see that remnant of that truth, that reality in the chimeras and the centaurs, the satyrs, the Greek mythologies, Medusa, snakeheads, all sorts of stuff like that. I just saw an article where they've tampered with mice and reindeer, and now we have little mice with reindeer horns and stuff like that. So I can just check that. Mice and reindeer. deer DNA. Antlers. How did this happen? Search. I don't want images. Here. We're gonna end this stream very soon if no one's coming on. Might be this. Mini antlers grown on mice heads after scientists implant deer cells into mice. So those scientists have grown mini antlers on mice by inserting deer genes into mouse genome. So if you can put reindeer DNA into mice, right? And now you can have little reindeer mousies with little horns and stuff like that, then it's also quite possible that the skeletons that we've unearthed with literally horns and stuff like that look like out of freaking not Lord of the Flies, Lord of the Rings kind of thing. Well, all of this crazy wacky stuff is starting to look a lot more plausible. So if we look at skulls found with horns. Hey, LA, I see you in the background. I'll log you on in a second. Please, LA, make sure that you will not start with the typical echoing. Make sure that all other things are shut off and that you're just working with StreamYard. Look, I don't know if all of these are real, probably not, but I do know that I've seen some documentaries with Trey Smith where there are some pretty skulls found with horn. So again, got to take it with a grain of salt. This might be not true and stuff like that, but it seems a lot less ridiculous when you're going to start seeing little mice with reindeer horns. All right, so let me share this here. I'm going to just go upstairs. So LA will maybe do another 25 minutes and then I'll have to go. I'm just going to go upstairs. I'll just go sit upstairs a bit and I'll let you on. Once I let you on, I just have to go through some of the comments and stuff like that, just to check out what's being said and stuff like that. I'm getting old. Doo-doo. Excuse me. All right. So just going to go through LA, the comments, and I'll let you on. Cloud seeding exposed by Edward Snowden on Redacted. Yeah, it's a good channel, Redacted. SpaceX is another HR away from launching another Falcon 9. Count Derpula. So what is your intuition? Derp, derp, derp. 12,500 nukes globally. The Earth is amazing. People have more to consider. My family and friends put a smile on my soul. Too busy looking at their screens. You're so right about that. With a dome, of course, Jason. Good point. You are so right about that. Thanks, hun. I'm just going through comments. And our moon is cartwheeling wax to wane. Every day rises wax, does a full or almost full 180. We live in crazy times. Don't forget, just write in cap locks, guys, if you want me to acknowledge something. LA and the Euphrates is dry. Guess what happens after that? Anyone know? Yeah, hordes of demons. There's Elohim, basically. There's spirit beings that are locked under the Euphrates, and I think that they're released right when the Euphrates dries up. And also the Euphrates, doesn't it dry up to allow the king of the north to cross the Euphrates to towards Israel? Might be wrong. Call me out, Stephen, if I'm wrong on that. But Jennifer Chamberlain. Hey, Jennifer. I follow a Bible study with Kim Keel. She attempted suicide at one point, was face to face with Jesus. Jesus teaches through her and warns through her. Terrorism coming big time. Thanks for showing up. Have you ever been here? I'm not sure. Is this the first time, or have you like once or twice been here before? She is telling us all the warnings God is revealing to her, and it isn't looking good for us. She has shown Russia, China, and Iran will invade USA. Well, see, my concern is that all of these people that are crossing your borders through Mexico and stuff like that are not just Mexicans. And I think that there's going to be a lot of basically terrorism because you guys have millions of people. You have no clue who they are. I mean, the whole thing in the Cold War with like one spy invading the country was a huge problem. Invading the, like one of your military, there's a spy, could just be the difference between, you know, success and failure, or lots of death and preventing death. And here you guys have no clue in the United States who the heck is just crossing the borders and stuff like that. It's definitely self-sabotage, a Luciferian satanic attempt to destroy the United States as a superpower. They don't want the U.S. as a superpower because the United States needs to fall from that high position of power and authority globally, so that the elites and the World Economic Forum and the beast system and the Antichrist system will take charge. So they don't want nations. Yes, for sure. Look at the immigration and yeah, it's everywhere. One perfect example is go look at the UK, you know, London and stuff like that. There's a lot of Islamic immigration that happened there. And now there's locations where they're enforcing Sharia law, Islams in the UK, where UK, people that are real born and bred and they are English and their family, lineage is from the UK and London and all that stuff. They're being, told to they can't be in certain areas of London because this is, because you're not veiled, or you're not covered and stuff like that. So I'm going to criticize at the moment the ideology
the religion, not necessarily the people that are in it. But this is not just my opinion. This is a known fact that when Islam is a religion that the purpose is to conquer the world in the name of Allah, and that the whole world becomes in submission to Allah, that the only religion is going to be Islam, that only Muslims, and that's the religion. It's to spread. So Jews really don't try and spread their religion. Christians try and spread salvation, okay, through Jesus, for that millennial kingdom, and then new heaven and new earth. So, but Islam wants to set up a Islamic empire on earth, and that is by the sword. It's pushed by the sword, and they have a thing where if so, how do you do that? Immigration. You immigrate into all the world, right? You have a high amount of children, which we're being told, oh, you know what? You shouldn't have children because Mammy Earth is dying and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Islam doesn't preach that, and their population is booming, while Christians and atheists and people of the West and stuff like that that don't have that belief structure are getting vasectomies in their 20s. So what they do is they say that Islam is a religion of peace, even though it is not. What I mean by that is the Quran itself is not peaceful. It says that the end will not come until Muslims kill every single Jew. That's in their Quran. And unfortunately, because of that horrible passage that Muhammad wrote, then they believe that, well, the Quran is the word of God. And those that are looking forward to, to the end of the world and paradise and stuff like that, Islam, when they take it through the Quran, they're encouraged that, well, like the Jews still exist. So, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be free. That doesn't mean a two-state solution. That means that they don't want Israel to exist at all. Okay. So they say that Islam is a religion of peace. Then when their numbers increase, then they defend their religion if their religion is attacked. But then when they reach a threshold where they are a large majority, then it's Islam or death kind of thing. So it's their strategy where it's peaceful. Then once they infiltrate enough, then in a way they show their true intentions. And the UK is the best example of Islam taking over a nation, and that the actual citizens that are not immigrants are being told to take a hike, and that they are not immigrating into the UK adopting the values because they're leaving Islamic countries because they don't agree with it. They leave their Islamic nations to come to our nations, but then after they want to make our nations into the nations that they left, when they said they left because they didn't like the radicalism. All right. Hey, LA. LA is not there right now. Yes, so. And the other thing is that if you look in the Old Testament, there's messianic prophecies, there's end time prophecies, known as Jacob's trouble and stuff like that. And you look at a lot of the biblical prophecies have still not been fulfilled, but those biblical prophecies are all based on countries that are all surrounding Israel. So it's quite impressive. What up, LA?
Hey, so much. I didn't know I was there.
Yeah. I do it on purpose. I wait till you leave, and then I click and.
Yeah, I think that's true. The way my life goes these days, I don't doubt it.
Oh, geez. I'm just so tired right now.
So am
I'm just
I,
like,
dear. I
mm.
get it.
So
But
whatever happened to the trial?
go ahead, say that again.
Whatever happened to that trial with the kids and stuff there? I
It was
remember.
just, yeah, it was discoveries. So of course we ran out of time because it's such a big file. We have to book additional dates to keep going
Okay.
because it's just such an
Uh,
intense, such an intense. It was two kids hit while waiting for a school bus. They were 8 and 10. The boy was the older one, and he pushed his sister out of the way. He died. She was catastrophic. She, I shouldn't say that, major injuries, but it took her. This was in 2020, and she's just recovering now. Of course, not 100%. And was at Sick Kids in rehab for almost a year and a half, and she's back in school, and she's doing it's a miracle. She's on a commercial for Sick Kids too. She's one
Wait,
of
I think it's the wrong case that we're
oh,
talking about. I was talking about. Remember the one that the kid shot people at school and the parents are being charged for murder. That one.
oh,
What happened to that?
that's not one I'm working on. That's one I watch.
Yeah, but
So
what happened?
the
Never
parents,
followed the rest.
yeah,
That
they
was there.
were. I think they were both convicted. I think I that one just literally went on finished last week, and I'm a little bit behind because of my own life. But they were
Yeah.
both convicted, guilty on all charges. It was all neglect and stuff like giving access to firearms to their son who had mental health problems and stuff like that. And yeah, it's an awful precedent for sure. They were found guilty, and I think sentencing is still to be done. I think that's why I'm getting confused. Although they were found guilty, they have to come back in a few weeks or months to get what the sentence is going to be.
Okay.
We're looking, I think, you know, any way you slice this, a lot of people see this as, of course, they were negligent parents, but now when it comes into the courts and stuff like that, what's next? What other parent's going to be charged with what when they don't know what their kid's doing and stuff like that? So
Yeah.
it's a weird precedent setting trial.
Well, like we're having weird precedences all over the world. I mean, in Canada, I can't share certain political opinions without like possibly getting to serious friggin' trouble, or this whole like gender confusion issue and stuff like that. If you are not 100% supportive of all children, at any age being affirmed if they claim to be anything other than the obvious gender that they are. Even me saying this
Yeah,
could put me in very big danger. I could lose my
yeah,
job.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I hear you. I'll say something. I'm very confused about this too because I'm a black and white person, but I'm also an empathetic person, and I also can understand science and hormones are not black and white. Maybe there is validity to it. I just personally haven't experienced someone close in my life where I would
Yeah.
believe that would happen.
Yeah.
But
I believe in gender
I
dysphoria.
work with a lot of people who are effeminate, and I work with a lot of females who are masculine. And I know that it's
Yeah.
not science and hormones and stuff like that. But
Tomboys, right? Remember, like she's butch or tomboy. It used to, be referred to as that.
well, even look at these kids
I
who are
don't
now
I
for one
don't
month who are
deny
born
the
with like
validity.
hair all over their face, right? They look like literally like an ape. Like that's a DNA defect, hormonal
Yeah.
defect.
I don't deny that gender dysphoria is a thing. What I am done my issue with it is that gender dysphoria used to be a mental illness. You know what I mean? And now it's being like, no, it's actually not a disease or an illness. It's just the normal spectrum of people, and it's all normal and stuff like that. Even though
they have 4 times the suicide rate. And even after hormone surgeries, puberty blockers, mastectomies, bottom surgeries, the suicide rate does not improve. So if you're an adult and you want to go on cross-sex hormones, no problem. You want to get surgeries, implants, bottom surgery, go for it. My issue is that in Canada, they are doing this to young children in elementary school, okay, where these children believe in Easter Bunny and Santa and things like that. And
well, that's the other thing I wonder, like how many is real and how many are they faking it just for attention, or like you said, that they're not psychologically stable, I guess, versus like
everybody's depressed because our dopamine receptors. Everyone's depressed because our dopamine receptors are shot. Okay.
But I mean, like more like the kids who come across and say, "Well, I knew this since I was like 5 years old," kind of thing. Those those might be not fakers for attention, because under 6, you're not doing shit like that knowing what you're doing, right? But like some who might bring this out of the blue in their teens and then use teen hormones. I don't know too much.
Just give me a second, Rod.
Like the teens might be more for attention and less about physiology. But anyways, how did this get started? I didn't bring this up.
We were talking about the trial, and then it's a dangerous precedent. And then
there's
some dangerous
precedent. You're thinking precedent insofar as what you're seeing in the hospital.
Insofar that if you have a unhappy kid that's just insecure and has a personality and temperament that is insecure, and everything around us is geared towards addiction, TikTok addictions, Instagram addictions, everything is about instant dopamine rushes, pornography, dopamine rushes. Kids are depressed because it's a dopamine issue. So now you have these young kids that will believe in anything, that are depressed because of nutrition, because of social media.
Parenting,
And now you have somebody saying, you know what, you decide if you're a boy or a girl, and then they're like, well, maybe I'm unhappy because I'm like that, or maybe all my friends are doing this.
If the parents are,
there's no way that 25% of today's youth identify themselves as LGBTQ. Okay, it used to be very small percentage of people that had same-sex attraction or that had gender dysphoria. Now it's like all of the youths, 1 in 4 are that. That is a social influence that is being pushed, and if crazy. These kids get convinced, these puberty blockers sterilize young children, because what is a puberty blocker? It is given to a confused transgender identified child who has not hit puberty yet. We're talking about giving puberty blockers to 10, 11, 12-year-olds before they start developing. And it sterilizes, and what happens is if you change your mind, they're lying and saying it just puts a pause on puberty. It does not. If you do this for a couple of years and then resume, there's micro.
And it's like, and plus, if you're changing the hormones, and even if they call it delaying and not changing, even if they say that at minimum, I've done enough fucking medical malpractice to know that, and I'm a parent as well. Any delay or stifling you're going to put on any human delays mental growth. So you're stunting stuff. So it's just crazy. Like, of course, if you stunt something, whether it's maturity or education or intelligence, you're changing that person. They're never going to be the same. You can't go backward.
No.
You can't. Oh, that's
no,
crazy.
Exactly. Hey, Rod. Rod just left. Rod R. I'm talking to Rod. Rod was in the background. I let him on briefly, and I took you off because when you're watching YouTube, you're watching it on YouTube. When you click my link, you enter StreamYards, and then
that YouTube page that you had open, I can hear it as echo. So when I clicked you and let you on the panel, I could tell that you had not muted or turned off your YouTube. So if you would like to come on again. I'll invite you on again. You'll just click the link, but you have to close all pages and remain only on StreamYards, or else we're going to go through probably another 10-15 minutes of trying to correct the echo, and that just creates dead time. So we can continue the conversation. I don't know if he's going to come back or not.
I hope
But
so.
yeah.
In chat for him. What was I going to say? So
So
yeah.
anyways, I'm distressed about that. Like,
We agree on
I think that's harming children. Look, we don't let kids get tattoos, okay, until they're 18. Why? Because it's like, it's not up to the parent to decide that for the
Yeah.
child. Let them become adults to make, adult decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've seen in the United States, this was big in the United States. Vanderbilt pediatric hospital, I think it's in Texas, I'm not sure, and they opened a transgender clinic where they offered all of these services, as well as top surgery, meaning mastectomies for girls that didn't want that because it distressed them. And there was a leak. Somebody was there with their phone, and there was like a hospital meeting in the amphitheater, and the lady's speaking and talking about how hormone therapy is a great money maker, because these people become dependent. They basically, you have a patient for the rest of your life that will be on hormones and require follow-ups of these hormones and represcriptions of these hormones. It's great for the pharmaceutical industry to sell these hormones.
Oh my God.
It's
It's all about follow the money.
So now we have a quarter of our youth that will not populate the future, which is great for Mammy Earth, because we want to depopulate because we're too many people. So confusing people and letting them go down this means that they're likely not going to be procreating as well.
Yeah.
And it's just a win-win for them. And it's very distressing. And that's why my granddaughter, we are homeschooling. And that means, like, your child can get influenced in this fashion in daycares as well as in schools. And
unless you find good people around you, like a good community, a good village.
Yeah, but most people drop off their kids and they don't really know what goes on.
I live across, that's why I keep looking out my window. I live across the street from a daycare center, a reputable one. But every time around this day after the work, and every morning, they're all slamming their doors, picking up their kids, and dropping them off in the morning. And I see them. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to do that. I was a stay-at-home mom till they were in full-time school. But while I was a stay-at-home mom, I homeschooled them both. By the time they ended up in JKSK, they were 4 grades ahead of everybody else. So I get it. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to balance what one wants to do and the economy and what one has to do. And so to be a good human and person is to balance all of that shit. And the biggest thing in my mind, people have been saying this to me for the past little while now, like, I'm a good mom, my kids are excellent and stuff like that, I should be proud. But it's a 50-50. Yes, I did a good job. I wouldn't deny that, because I worked hard at it. But also, it's that the humans that are your babies are also part of the equation, insofar as I do question whether DNA has to do with it, because if you have a handicapped child, DNA is involved. As soon as you have an intelligent child, equally DNA is involved. So half the battle is teaching them how to be and act and learn, and the other half is DNA. If you're capable of learning how to be and act and input what you're being taught, I mean, that's half the battle too. So I never take 100% of the credit. My ex-husband is half the credit too, or a quarter. I'm a quarter. Both kids are each a quarter, 50-50, because they were able to tolerate both of us, which is was a lot. My kids laugh at me all the time. They're like, between you and dad, for God's sake, with all your OCD-ness and everything, and how much we put into
Yeah.
all like energy into them. She says it's no wonder we're the way we are. So, but like a lot of parents aren't like that, right? A lot of parents are negligent, and so part of me, I wanted to tell you really quick about a sort of mindset or angel story I had. I think Rod will know a little bit about this because he listened to me last week. I was at like the
Okay.
brink of again losing my house and finances and stuff like that, and I just ended up taking on another lawyer, separate, like just a separate firm, and I said, it's a part-time job. This is what I can offer. I don't want it to interfere with my full-time commitment. She agreed. We're doing it. So now I worked for two separate jobs. So now instead of 9 to 5, it's 8 to 6. But it came literally the day after I was calling my mortgage company and real estate agents and everybody to say I'm gonna lose everything. And I was stressing out so much.
Yeah.
I was literally losing my mind because I feel like I always get to this point and then something always happens, literally exactly when I hit almost pit bottom, right? So part of
Yep.
me, I start to wonder when this happens, not once, it's not twice, it's not a coincidence. This has been happening my entire life. And when I start
Does it
thinking
happen?
much about it, I start to wonder. I said to my kids, I said, there must be something about angels. They must be, or it's a simulation. They're testing me and testing me, like, let her go like this, let her go like this, let her go like this, let her go like. And I'm sitting here going, like, what are the chances of when I'm hitting always those
LA.
that something would happen? I mean, it's out of
Nope.
my control. Something else is in control. So that's why I friggin' argue with you, Jason, because I don't know the answer about religion, angels, or
Well,
aliens.
I mean, if you're open
That's
to a
not the
simulation, there's somebody who created the simulation. Let's say hi to Rod.
And Luke,
Give
Ryan,
a little
Rod.
time. Hey, Rod.
Hey,
Hey, Luke.
Jason.
We'll let Rod talk a little bit, and then we'll go and give Luke some time to talk. You guys, we can talk about
Sure.
anything and everything if possible. I'd be interested in knowing your opinions on the sun and the moon being almost like 400. The whole thing I started at the start of the talk, that
Right.
the moon
Right.
eclipses perfectly because it's like 400 times larger, 400 times further, and you got geometry.
It's a
Geometria,
perfect conundrum. Yes.
and so what's your thoughts on that? Like, intelligent design, Darwin, theory of evolution, all the stuff.
I do not believe in Darwinism. Darwinism goes so far that the moon and eclipse thing and sun is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on either way.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
You got to leave your mind open. Don't care. My grandfather was a Southern Baptist minister, and my dad was a Hindu. So I mean, I don't know. That's quite an eclipse in and of itself.
Yeah. No, well, open-mindedness. I can respect.
You have to
respect that. You know what I mean?
No one has a perfect answer. We really don't.
No. We all. Paul said it nicely. We look through a glass darkly in this life. That's true for everyone and stuff like that. What about you, Luke? What's your thoughts about the sun and the moon and this 400 further, and how eclipses seem to what's the coincidence of that? And what's your thoughts on Darwinism, intelligent design? What's your thoughts that the tree, we actually have a bronchial tree in our chest that does the opposite CO2 and oxygen. I mean, and then you can get into the fine tuning of the universe, and it's like, is this all a coincidence? Do you think nothing created everything? What's your thoughts? Go ahead, Luke.
Well, you know what, Jason, being honest with you right here, right now, but before, there is more to the pyramid that meets the eye. And being honest with you, you know what I mean? Like, we hear about all these different things in the news and all that, like, mainstream media, blah, 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 all this shebang, left, right, and center. And the way I see it, right, is that, call me old-fashioned if you want to, because you see, where I live, for example, as I said before, in the last stream, is that where I come from is the Republic of Ireland. And basically, what happens here, for example, is that I guarantee you, right, there are a lot of people out there, for example, all up and down and around the Free State of Ireland who also know exactly what's really happening in the world. You know what I mean? They know exactly what's unfolding. They know exactly what's coming down the pipeline and all that as well. So do I. In fact, I know a lot more to the pyramids exactly as to, but it's not the all-seeing eye that not every person might be seeing, though. It's the all-seeing eye of a completely different kind. It's something that's much bigger than that.
How old are you, Luke?
34 I am, Rod.
34?
Yep.
I got 30 years on you.
Well, put it this
You're
way.
doing well. You're doing well.
You know what they say, Rod. You know what they say. Age is merely just a number. It doesn't matter how old you are, how mature you are, how young you are. Age is merely just a number at the end of the day.
I've always said it's the mileage. It's not the years. It's the mileage.
Yep. It's all about the mileage. Exactly. That's all about what it is. But needless to say, however, that's nothing. Being honest with you, look, there is always something worse off than than whatever's there. Like, what we actually have at the moment. Like, politicians. Yes, there's always going to be one worse politician worse than the other. You know what I mean? There's always going to be, like another element, for example, that is always going to be worse off than, compared to the previous one. You know what I mean? Anything can happen. You know what I mean? But
Rod, you have extremely clear ears. There's like not a speck of yellow in there. I would
I'm holding it off to the side.
I would never do that. There's no gross old man hairs coming out of that. I mean,
well, once again, your perception.
Very impressive. That's good. Oh no.
Oh shoot! I think did he like that? Oh.
No.
Say, well, yeah.
Jason has changed his medical practice all of a sudden. He's an ENT.
I'm an ear, nose, throat specialist now. I'm like, man, I don't know, man. It seems like I would never take a chance like that. My ears are probably yellow in there. It seems like I'm always trying to.
It's funny. I'm so obsessed with all my OCD and everything. Ears is something I do care about, and as a result, my son does too. I watch him, and he's like, I'm like, they pick up stuff from their parents. I'm telling you, they pick it up.
Yeah.
I think I'm back.
You are.
Your ear is anyway.
I have trouble hearing.
The phone fell down the ear. It just fell down that black hole, and just you have to go retrieve it.
Yep.
So what you're doing is you're messing with a guy that can't hear well. I see how you are. It's all right.
Yeah, but we don't want to see your ear.
Well, what you can do is if not, you can take the camera off if you're putting it. But I know what you mean. You're like trying to listen like this to the stream and stuff like that. It makes sense. I was just teasing you.
It's just how it is.
Hey,
if you didn't tease me, I didn't think you'd like me at all.
Well, it's not. It's a compliment. I mean, it to be honest,
Exactly.
it would have been awkward if you had like really disgusting ears because no one would be saying anything. Everybody would be like, "Oh my god."
That's why your brother fucks with you. He kind of likes you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But regardless, yes, it's good to see you all here.
Yep.
Likewise.
You know what? We're gonna call it a night because it's already almost 2 hours 20 minutes. I'll try and do some open panels where everyone can just jump on early and stuff like that.
That works for me. I've never liked you much anyway, Jason. That works for me.
Oh, good. I don't like myself sometimes, so
right.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go.
Been a pleasure.
Literally only have 2 days off. I've been working like almost every day. I want to go see my granddaughter before she goes to bed and stuff. So see you guys around, right?
All right,
Absolutely.
no worries.
Mr.
Bunga
Clean Ears. Mr. Clean Ears is gone. I kicked him. We're gonna call you today, Baby Luke. You're out of here too. And LA,
Boot me.
love you. See you soon.
Take
Yeah,
care.
I don't. I have no teasing to. I'm trying to come up with something, but
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Save it for
yeah, I
another
love
day.
you. That's it.
Love you
I'll
too.
think of
Bye.
something. It's something clever next time. See ya. All right, guys. I'm out of here too. God bless. Love you. See you.